The less green agenda is coming for your farm. A company proposing a carbon capture pipeline that would span 5 states, filing more than 80 eminent domain lawsuits against landowners in South Dakota.
One farmer caught this footage of scouters on his private property surveying for construction points. With us now is Jared Bosley, a South Dakota landowner who's been dealing firsthand with these pipeline lawsuits. Sir, thank you for being with us today. This is a fascinating and scary story. Tell us what you have been going through with surveyors you don't know showing up on your property and saying, we're scouting for a pipeline that you haven't agreed to.
Well, for one, thanks for having us on here, me having me on and everybody fighting this pipeline. We all appreciate to get the word out. Kind of a little background of what I'm going through here. I left to go plant the one day. It's gone in the tractor. It wasn't around here at all. In fact, I was 10 miles north of here. And my wife happened to be home because she was recovering from gallbladder surgery. And she was in the shower and heard someone yell in the house. And she just sent a text, was wondering if I had parts coming or something like that. I said, no, I don't know of anybody stopping. And then she got out of the shower, kind of tidied up and ran down, and she just turned the cameras on, our cow cameras we got watching the lots when we calve and all that. She turned it over to the shop just to see what this pickup was doing, because it's just an unmarked random pickup with Louisiana plates. It's kind of pretty random for here in South Dakota. And she zoomed in and watched them, and they pull up to the shop there and then proceed to open the door and go into the shop. And at that time, she just kept watching. They left, and they headed up to the field where this pipeline is proposed to go. And like the shop is in a totally different section. It's not on any of the pipeline stuff. They have no business being there at all. And they sat up in this approach for, 5-6 minutes. And she called me then, kind of wondering what to do or what's going on. She's shaken up, don't know what's happening. Right. So I just said, well, go up and just see who it is. Because, we kind of should know who's venturing around. And when she went up there, she called me back and just said she called right when she went to talk with them. And they said, Summit surveyors. I said, if it's Summit and they're there to survey, then the sheriff should be involved. I'll deal with this later. And I hung up. I was on the phone for 6 seconds. And she said she got back in her car kind of after that and went home, and they just kind of left. Thought the whole thing was kind of over with. But then later that day, the detective came out to the farm here, and I was still planting. I wasn't home. And a couple days later, I met up with him and talked with him, and he said that those guys said I threatened them. And I asked, what do you mean threaten? He said, well, they said you threatened to kill them. I said, I wasn't on the phone. I talked with them for 6 seconds. I didn't say anything at all like that. That was never a thought. Because
Jared,
the judge in Brown.
Are you fighting this in court, though, to keep keep them from taking your land?
Yes, we're trying, because they've served condemnation papers so they could go survey the land, because we have been against the surveying and all that stuff from the beginning. So now it's to the court. And after this whole incident that they made up, they tried to so the judge first ordered that they can survey. I don't like the ruling, but I respect the judge. I wasn't interfering with him. I was just wondering who was on the land. We were trying to figure who was running around the shop and the farm here. And well, now then they tried to get me for contempt of court for over this alleged incident that is completely false. And now, in fact, they were trying for a restraining order also then, which they didn't get that. And I guess I won the in contempt of court case, but they can survey now. They can still survey.
Jared, they're trying to take your land through eminent domain. for a private company that's going to profit off of this carbon capture technology, which Dagan rightly points out, economically doesn't make sense except for all these government subsidies. In other words, you're supposed to give away your land for a company getting government subsidies to make profit off of a technology that doesn't work. That's got to have you and your fellow farmland owners infuriated.
It's definitely very frustrating. I mean, it adds a lot of stress to an already stressful job. I mean, like where they got this proposed, I have a bunch of new trees planted, the kids and I have planted, we've watered, because that's kind of where the kids want to go home and farm. That's where the herd expansion comes, so we can have more cows. Here's the goal that way. Well, if they put this pipeline through here, they change the entire future of the ranch here. And you're almost in disbelief this is even happening here
Jared,
in South Dakota. And
I know. Jared, please come back. We will have you on again. We want to keep hearing your story as it develops. Sorry to cut you short, but we promise to have you back and hear more about you and your family and your past and your future.
It sounds great. I would love to.
Jared Bosley, thank you so much.
Thank you.